Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'm Jeremy Yoder, and today I'm doing a recreation of a recipe that I did on the Food Network show, Pitmasters. And one of the coolest things is this Yoder Wichita right behind me was actually one of the pits on the show, and it's going to be an authentic recreation of exactly what we did. So we're going to do the beef cheek slider recipe. It's one of my favorite things. We're going to smoke these, we're going to confit them in the end in beef tallow, and then we're going to make a jalapeno slaw to give it a little bit of a kick and to be a nice crunchy complement to the soft beef cheeks that we're creating. So I'm going to use Eric's hatchet to open these up, and I have to admit, I do feel cooler. So let's see. Wow, it's sharp too. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, Eric is prepared. So if you have any silver skin, you can remove that. Okay, so once we have it cleaned up, it'll look something like this. But what you notice here is there's a lot of little specks of fat. So it's great intramuscular marbling. So this should be really juicy at the end. And now, seasoned salt going on. You can do just salt and pepper. You can do a little bit of seasoned salt and pepper. But I would keep the seasoning simple because you really want that great beef flavor you get with beef cheeks to come out. So you don't want to cover it up with too much. When it looks like this, it's time to put it on the pit because we want to create a great bark on the outside because that's going to be a texture difference because the inside is going to be so soft. So when it looks like this, we're going to put it on. We're going to treat the other beef cheeks the exact same way. And we'll probably check in about an hour to see what kind of color that we're getting on the outside. Once we have good color and good bark on the outside, then the very important process of confit is what's gonna make these extra special. So let's put it on. All right. So let's talk about these beef cheeks. Why did I choose beef cheeks? But before we get into that, big shout out to Eric from Sven Diesel for letting me use his pit and his house to film this because out here in Utah, we don't really have a setup. So I'm borrowing one. So thank you. It's a huge help. But beef cheeks, why would I use these? Well, they get used a lot when cows are chewing, and that's pretty much what they do all day. So what does that mean? That means there's a ton of connective tissue. So if you cook this like a steak, it'll be tough and terrible. But if you cook this low and slow and give it enough time to break down all that connective tissue, you have a succulent piece of meat with tremendous flavor because the more that muscle is used, the more flavor potential it really has. All right, guys, it's been about 90 minutes. So let's take a look at these beef cheeks because we want to get good color on them. And let's just see how they're doing. Make sure nothing burns. So if you see these, we're starting to get good red color on there. Nothing's burning. So we want to get a brisket-like bark on the outside. It's gonna take more time, probably a few more hours. Then when they get the bark that we want, we'll confit them with some Wagyu tallow. Guys, I wanna thank the sponsor of today's video, ThermoWorks. And it's appropriate that I'm doing it with this video because on the show, I saw ThermoPens everywhere by people who have no affiliation with ThermoWorks, simply because they're the best. I didn't see any competitive product. I only saw ThermoWorks, and I saw it all over the place because they're the best. This ThermoPen IR is the exact same one I had on set. I use this to measure the temps of cast iron. I use this to measure the temp of picanha, or especially beef cheeks, to make sure that we're achieving the tenderness that we're after. I had tons of ThermoWorks gear. Why? Because it's reliable and I trust it. And it wasn't just me who was trusting it. Lots of the other teams were trusting it too because they make the best quality products on the market. I have spent more money on cheap thermometers that broke or rusted or got filled with water than I spent buying a ThermoPen because they stand behind their products and they make a great quality product. So check out that link in the description and see if you can find a product that's going to make your barbecue even better. Now, while we're waiting for these beef cheeks to get that really dark bark that we're after, let's talk about the smoker setup that I'm using, which is actually the exact same smoker setup I used when I was on the show. Now, one of the key issues that people were dealing with was the elevation at which the filming took place. So we were at 5,300 feet, something like that, which means there's significantly less oxygen for any particular volume of air than you'd have at sea level. What does that mean if you're running an offset smoker? That means you need to increase the airflow relative to what you would expect at sea level. That means you're gonna run the stack more open, you're gonna have the firebox door more open to get more oxygen to the fire because at that elevation, it's easier for your fire to die. Everybody had the exact same offset smoker. We had one of these Yoder Wichitas. And I think there were only two teams who really got the smoker to work well because of how we adjusted things. Saul from 2M had his smoker set up, I think, in almost exactly the same way that I did when I looked over and kind of saw what he was doing. But I can tell you what I did and what was able to give me the temps that I needed, was able to give me the airflow that I needed, the kind of smoke flavor that I was after. Whereas some other teams, I don't want to call anybody out, but they really struggled because they were using the charcoal basket, they were putting logs on top of that, and they had all the diffuser plate and all that stuff still in their smoker, inhibiting airflow. So what I did was I took everything out other than the grate. So one of the things is this diffuser plate. I think the diffuser plate is helpful if you're trying to match temperatures, if you're taking temperatures with a thermometer. But in practical cooking applications, I think it inhibits airflow too much because those gases that rise from the fire are less dense, which means they want to rise. Now, they will go horizontally, but if you keep them from rising for too long, it slows down and bogs down the entire process, which means you're not pulling air out quickly enough, which means you're not letting fresh oxygen into the firebox quickly enough, and then your fire just wants to die. So by taking that out, leaving the stack wide open, we're maximizing the airflow. So this allowed me to run an offset fire the entire time without having many issues. And I could use the door and the damper to dial in exactly what I wanted. Now, at sea level, this might work without inhibiting the oxygen too much, but at elevation with the reduced oxygen concentration, pulling all this out lets me adjust the amount of oxygen reaching my fire so I can dial it into exactly the temperature and smoke profile that I need. All right, at about the 5-hour mark, we have much better bark. It's almost brisket dark, and we're starting to get a little bit of tenderness, like it could pull apart. But we're going to confit this in Wagyu tallow. And you might ask yourself, well, why would you confit it? Well, at this elevation, it's especially important to preserve as much moisture as possible inside here because we have more evaporative cooling because the air pressure is lower, which means we evaporate more water. And so by surrounding this in fat, we're going to stop evaporative cooling completely. We're going to bring it up to tenderness, and we're going to have the outside covered in fat, which is going to make every bite just a little bit more succulent. Because when you eat a great steak and you think, oh, that steak was so juicy, it's not because there was more water inside that steak. It's because there was more marbling and more rendered fat inside of that steak. So we're going to cover the outside of this in rendered fat, hopefully preserving as much moisture as possible. So I'm going to get a pan, I'm going to put these inside, and then cover that in Wagyu tallow, put it back on the smoker just like I did in the show until we reach tenderness. Then I'm going to be checking with, of course, my thermopan. All right, now Wagyu tallow. Now that we have the tallow on here, it's time to get these to tenderness. So we're going to cook them to a final temp of probably about 205, maybe 206. But we're going to use the thermopan both for temperature and just the right feeling of like, oh, it goes through like butter. But we're going to run the pit now at 300, maybe 310, because they're so protected by that tallow that we're not going to burn anything. So we'll close this up and finish this off. In the meantime, we're going to make some slaw. Now, to construct the beef cheek slider, we have to make a slaw. You can make whatever kind of slaw that you want. The one that I made on the show was cabbage, carrot, some jalapeno, some lime juice. I wanted some acid because I wanted to offset the richness of the beef cheek, and I wanted some jalapenos just for a little bit of spice to give it some kick because we wanted to hit as many flavors as we could by keeping the protein simple and then around it having kind of a symphony of other flavors going on. So I'm going to chop these up. I have some cider vinegar, I have some mayo, I have some Dijon mustard, and then some limes that I'm going to use to add a little bit more acid. So I'm going to get to chopping, and you guys are going to see it when it's done.
Onion, sneak it in there.
Just salt, thank you. That's like a lot.
What is that? It's like the coolest way to add salt ever. Eric hooked me up with some super cool salt from the Redmond mine, so let's add it. So we have our slaw. It's not super liquidy, but it's going to draw water out of these vegetables. So by the time we apply it, it should be refreshing. It should be acidic, have just the right amount of salt, and then a little bit of heat from those jalapenos. It's going to be the perfect contrast to the tender juicy, but very rich beef cheeks. It's been a little bit over an hour on these beef cheeks sitting in this Wagyu beef tallow, and they are temping between 204 and 206 with the Thermapen, and they feel great, like really nice and buttery soft. So it's time to pull these off. We're gonna let them cool a little bit, and then we're gonna slice them and construct our sliders. So let's get them off the pit. You guys can see, that's the gelatin from all that connective tissue that's run out of these. That's the sticky stuff right there, and makes it super, super tasty. Okay, it's time to construct our sliders here. So I'm gonna do it exactly the same way that I did on the show. So first, I'm gonna slice the beef cheeks, because if you chop it up, then you lose the little texture, and you really wanna show off that it's still meat, but it's very, very tender. What you'll see in the middle is a bunch of that connective tissue. All of this juicy goodness makes it super succulent. But I actually cut out the connective tissue right here. Some people leave it in. I think it makes a better bite if you cut it out. Getting in here with a sharp knife, making a cut here, making a cut here, but preserving the bark on the outside. Remove this, clean up this outside portion, and this goes on the slider. And you can use 2 or 3 slices. Just depends on how hungry you are. And now we have some slaw to provide some crunch and acid. And then if you want some sauce, you can put some sauce drizzled over the top. But for the purposes of the show, I know that they were tasting a bunch of sauces. So to keep the flavors as clean as possible, I didn't add sauce. If you want some sweetness, you can add it here, or you can add a little bit of sugar to the slaw. So you get sweetness, some acid for tartness, you get the succulence of the beef, and it all comes together as one. But this, to me, is everything I want in a slider. Smoky, tender, crunchy, with a little bread to cover the top and bottom. Now something that I didn't really get to do on the show because we were pushed for time, I get to taste it. It's really, really good. I love the jalapeno. That's actually really nice. I still got it. All right, looking at these slices, obviously really juicy, lots of connective tissue in there. But one of the cool things about beef, you can see that's the gelatin. I mean, that stringiness is all the gelatin that we cooked out. So when you take a bite, it just makes it seem super succulent. But one of the cool things about beef cheeks is because they have so much surface area, and we kind of smoke them like we would a brisket. We have smoke ring from edge to edge. The whole thing is pink. We haven't turned this into pastrami beef cheeks or anything, but it's red all the way through because those gas molecules that retain the color of the myoglobin made it all the way to the center. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to follow me on all other social media, you can do that at Mad Scientist Barbecue. I want to say thank you so much for the support you've given me while I've been on the show with Al. It has really meant the world to me. And if there's any other information or any other kind of video you want me to create, leave it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you like this content. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.